Hello and welcome everyone. I am Sergeant First Class Khan with the Special Operations Recruiting Battalion and the Warrant Officer Recruiting Company. I have with us today our special guest, Ms. Trujillo. She is a 920 Alpha, which is a property book officer. So without further ado, ma'am, could you share with us your experience in your warrant officer field, in your career field, and how you feel about serving in your MOS?
Well, I'm brand new, fresh out of WOBIC, and I'm really happy that I made the transition, just because I feel like it's my passion. I've always been really, really passionate about my job, like my specific MOS, even coming from enlisted. And I just feel like now I have more of a higher level perspective in certain aspects of my job, and I'm just really eager to learn, and hopefully I become that, senior mentor one day. Like, I have a senior mentor that I really look up to, and I always seen her and I was like, man, I want to be just like her. So that's my strive right now, is to become
The absolute epitome of what you can be, and I'm sure you will get there, okay? You seem really well in tune with your job. So, ma'am, what is it that a new candidate can expect to do on their day-to-day vocation in your particular profession, and how do those responsibilities grow over time?
So we are really the commander's advisors, but on a daily tasking for myself, it'd be more like working with the company commanders, more on their property book side. So let's say we have two commanders, one's the outgoing and one's the incoming. So we would schedule a meeting with them, and then I would give them the incoming brief and the outgoing brief. That way they know what to expect and what to look for. If any deficiencies come about, they know to bring it to me. I'd also like to have the NCO, the supply NCO present. That way they also know what to expect and what to look for, and they can guide their commanders through the inventories a little bit better. And I also provide them with a slideshow and some material, so that way if they have any hiccups or anything like that, and they feel like they want to take care of it at their level, and they don't want to come in to my office, for whatever reason, they have something to go back for and look through and say, oh, okay, we ran into this situation, this is what it says, this is what regulation we could find it at. So that's really what is more of a daily task for us, and as of course keeping up with files and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great, thank you so much, that's very insightful. For our next question, we wanted to ask, in terms of someone that's applying to become a warrant officer, what advice would you give them?
My advice would be to be physically fit, because I think that's one thing that we kind of, you think as a warrant officer, you don't, that's not the first thing that comes to your mind, is like, oh, you have to be good at PT or something, we definitely be fit, because for walks, you're definitely gonna need it. I wish that was something that was, told to me, because I was good. I was actually doing very well, but I didn't expect it for it to be that physical. So definitely work on your physical fitness before you go to walks, and then also just be as proficient as you can in your job at whatever level you're at, and definitely hit the regulations. If you can go into the regulations for your MOS and kind of give them a quick scan and have an idea of what you're supposed to be doing in your MOS, or I'm not saying recite them right off the bat, but definitely give a look through on the regulations. That way you know what to expect once you transition from walks into the WOBIC side of the warrant officer classes or courses. So that's one of the biggest advices that I have, is hit the regulation. You can never go wrong with what's in black and white,
Sure. Now, our next question is really more along the lines of professional development. How do you see your particular field translating into the civilian environment? Did you consider that as you were making your transition to becoming a warrant officer, and considering what you would do with that skill set as you transition out of the Army at some point?
Actually, that was probably the biggest reason why I wanted to be in the logistics field when I first joined. So I've always been pretty passionate about that, and I actually have a transportation company in the civilian side with my dad. And when I was coming into the military, I was like, well, let me work on something that can transition once I retire. Because my plan has always been, do the 20 years.
Sure.
So I was like, let me look into the logistics side. And when they told me about the 920 Alpha and the 92 Yankee World, I was like, that's something that really interests me. And looking into the civilian aspect of it, it transitions really well, especially now that we're using the GCSS Army system, which is a civilian-based system. Yeah, so that was really cool that we actually transitioned a couple years ago, and now that we are using it in the Army, once I get ready to retire and I'm looking at, maybe a civilian side job with even a GS job, or, just with Walmart or Amazon or anything like that. So we're actually using the same system as them. So I'll be knowledgeable enough to use it, and I won't have the jitters like, oh, I've been in the Army this whole time, and
Sure.
like, how do you transition to a civilian? And just having that, like, even just that one system, I feel really confident, once I get ready to retire and transition into a contracting job. So.
Perfect. Thank you. That was very insightful. For those of you that are seeking a career as a 920 Alpha, the advice I'd give you, go warrant now.